What's up, Artieros? Welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to another Waffle House. It's a Tuesday night. I hope your week is going well. And yeah, man, it's another opportunity to talk to the community. Another opportunity to just get some stuff off my chest, man. Just waffle a little bit. And tonight I picked kind of the three things that were the topic of discussion around the league this week. Just in general football as well. And yeah, man, I hope we can get some, good takes and see what happens. It's Tuesday. The sun's finally coming out in the UK. It was actually warm today. And yeah, man, when I think about the football weekend, great weekend. We beat those lot across the road, or up the road. We did it in emphatic fashion and still top of the table. What I want to start with though is not the football, but what happened on the pitch. And not only did it happen once, it happened twice. It happened twice. And that's the referees stopping the game because they have mic issues. It's embarrassing for the top league in the world to not be able to figure out how to use a mic, to not be able to figure out their way through the half. And the thing that annoyed me most about it is, Arsenal, we were on top of Spurs. Like, we were just going head to head. We were, on top of them. It looked like we was going to score a goal. And then there's a stoppage. And you're like, man, maybe it's going to be a quick thing. And it wasn't. It wasn't a quick thing. It took, they added, I think, 8 minutes, but it felt like it was longer than that. And when, I've been there, I played American football, and it's a stop-start sport. But when you're in a groove and when you're going, and then, something unfortunate happens like an injury, now you're just kind of sitting there cold. And all that momentum that you had is gone. And this wasn't even an injury. This was just the refs being incompetent, in my opinion. And that's why I wanted to talk about the refs to start off with, because it's not just an Arsenal problem, it's a Prem problem. It's a Prem problem, the fact that I feel like every week we got something wrong with the refs. Every week there's a problem with a decision. Every week there's something wrong with VAR. Every week there's something with the refs. And I said this in the last, Waffle House. I can't think of any other league or any other sport where people know the ref by name. Unless, it's a like tennis or something, you got to say. Even then, I don't think they would know the ref's name. But, you get to a point where it's kind of like, bro, why do I know who's like in our group chat, they're like, oh, this ref is doing it this weekend. Why does that matter? I shouldn't have to know who the ref is. Like, I shouldn't feel a type of way because we're getting a certain ref. And I just feel like with the Prem, man, for a league that big, for a league that, says it's the best in the world, the greatest players, why don't you have the greatest ref? You got the greatest managers, some of the best fans, but your refs are subpar, man. And I can't believe I'm going to agree with Gary Neville. But, I was listening to Gary Neville as it was going, and he was kind of like, I can't believe this. I was like, what did the refs do before there was, electronic, before there were mics? Like, back in the 50s and 60s, they didn't have all this fancy technology. Bro, all you got to do anyway is lift the flag if you're the linesman. Like, that's it. What do you guys have to talk about? Like, your weekend? Why do we have to wait a whole 10 minutes for you to fix that? I didn't get it. And then my second issue is it happened the second time, and right after halftime. And in my mind, I'm like, you're having mic issues. Did you not think to come out before the game started and say, hey, let's test these mics. Let's see if these mics work. Oh, do they work? Oh, it's still not working. Like, I know the refs need a break as well. But, man, to get into the half, come out the half, you're ready, you're pumped, you're going, you go, let's take it to them. And now the refs are sitting here fumbling with the mic. It's disgraceful, bro. It's disgraceful. And I just always feel like there's something, like whether it's VAR, just making calamitous issues and mistakes, or just the general embarrassment of the refs. And yeah, man, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over our refs. I don't understand why, the PGMOL or whoever runs the refs can't just get better refs in, man. They don't have to be English. They don't have to be English. They just have to be top referees. I want top referees in the top league. And, a lot of people are a lot of people say that VAR is running the game. A lot of people say that, they don't like VAR. I don't think VAR is the issue. I don't think the system or the technology is the issue. I think the biggest issue is the people running it. You're saying that these refs aren't good when they're on the field. You think they're gonna be better in the booth? Nah, man. I don't think there is a solution except for kind of figuring out how to get better refs, how to get better refereeing, um how to get oversight, man. I think that the league definitely needs oversight when it comes to the refs. Cuz I said this in the last one, I don't think that buddies should be in charge of checking, but like, if I have a friend and he's in a job and then you're just kind of like, "Hey, your job's to check his work." That's a conflict of interest. But it happens every week in the Prem. You got these dudes who, they're probably at conferences together. Because I'm a coach, right? I'm a coach of American football, and one of my friends is an American football ref. They have referees conventions, so all the referees know each other. Whether they're in the north of England, whether they're in the south of England, they've come across each other once or twice. And for you to like have, let's say you shared a weekend, you headed off with a dude in Scotland, you guys like kind of the same thing, you talk about reffing your games, you talk about referees, you built some sort of rapport. So now, if someone asks you, "Hey, rate this guy's homework, whether he's done a good job," like you feel bad. There's a conflict of interest because you don't want to feel like you're taking out of this guy's pocket. You're stopping this guy from getting paid. You're taking away from this guy's credibility. It just doesn't work. So as I said in the last Waffle House, man, I just think that we need an independent panel of refs. We need refs who don't have they don't have a foot in the game. They don't have any interest in what's happening in the league. And then I think at that point you'll probably find the best refereeing, the best everything. Like as far as kind of how the game flows, if you get people who just aren't invested in it, like their job is to ref, their job is to do a good job refereeing. They don't have to be in the papers. They don't have to be in the headlines that they've sent this person off or that person off. Like literally, all they can do is enjoy and enjoy refereeing, not enjoy who's gonna win. Like you shouldn't have people who are kind of like, oh, they work for Man City or this that, like conflict of interest. I don't understand why you can figure out conflict of interest in every other aspect of life, but not refereeing in England. So that's my bit on the refs, and that kind of goes into that goes into my second topic that I wanted to talk about, and the third topic I'm gonna leave. Like I'm gonna talk about the Vinicius situation, but I'm gonna leave that for a little bit later when we actually, have a little bit more people. Because I legit want to like, I want people to hear what I have to say. But the second bit with the refereeing, and this debate has gone around in kind of, some of the podcasts I'm watching and football in general. You know, have analytics destroyed football? Is analytics destroying football at the moment? And I'm a person, I've watched a lot of sport in my life. I love football, I love American football, I love basketball. I love, you know, I like team sport. I've even watched rugby. I think in this new internet world that we live in, this new analytical world, I think that numbers are destroying the beauty of the game. and it's not just football. I think it's American football as well. I think it's basketball as well. Let's say basketball for example, right? So when I was growing up, in the late '90s, early '90s, um, you had Kobe, Shaq, you had big guy Yao Ming, you had Tracy McGrady, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, like you had Tim Duncan, you had some big dudes. That it was the latter end of Jordan and guys like Rodman and stuff. Like you had big guys, and basketball was fun to watch. Basketball during those times, it was scrappy. You had your early 2000s. You had the Malice at the Palace with the Pistons. I think it was what the Pistons and the Pacers. Um, you just had more scrappy games, and games were back and forth, and it was exciting. And then, and I love the guy, Steph Curry with the 3-point shot. He changed the game. And I feel like watching basketball now, it's like the 3-point shot has kind of taken away from that kind of back and forth nature of the game. Everybody's trying to jack up threes, and not everybody good at jacking up threes, man. Like not everybody's a 3-point shooter, but you got centers jacking up threes now because the analytics say 3 points greater than two. This wide open shot in the wing, it's a little bit shorter distance than other 3-point. Like everything is analytical, and you don't get like a lot of shacks where you're just dominating in the paint. I can't remember of the players now of guys who may be dominant in the paint. You got Giannis, not you got Zion Williamson when he's good. You have those guys, but you don't have the Shaqs. You don't have the Yao Mings, the Dwight Howards anymore. You don't have those guys anymore. And I feel like basketball was a lot more fun then. I don't watch it anymore. I've never been like that huge a basketball fan. But I mean, as the Miami Heat are the only Miami team that were consistently winning as I was growing up, you kind of do watch. But I like contact sports. But then I look at American football and it's the same, man. American football is kind of like everybody wants the flash play. They want the Patrick Mahomes throwing deep bombs. They want the guy with the cannon, and then we got into a point where like dudes like Tua were just throwing screens and because you know it, you look at the Miami Dolphins are a good example. You look at Tua and it was like, oh, how's Tua? I mean, he hasn't been that successful because we suck, but like when you look at like, oh, let's do a screen pass or let's do a short yardage pass because they're more you're more likely to get their higher percentage passes, and I miss the wide on bombs. I miss running the rock. I miss just bang bang. Like I was talking about it with my mates because we went out. My football guys from the Dreadnoughts. It's that one from the Dreadnoughts. We went out. We was talking about football, man, and we were talking about I think it was '05 with the Cardinals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's a Super Bowl I remember. I remember that Super Bowl because it was back and forth. Man, you had Larry Fitzgerald, you had guys like Hines Ward, Troy Polamalu, like you had Anquan Bolden, Santonio Holmes, like you had dudes that were going at it, and it was back and forth, man. I think who was their quarterback? It wasn't Carson Palmer. It was the old St. Louis quarterback whose name I can't remember at the moment. Jesus, I should know this, but yeah, it was Kurt Warner. It's Kurt Warner, Ben Roethlisberger, and it was just back and forth. And it was one of the last Super Bowls I remember watching and having a good time watching. You remember certain Super Bowls now, like you remember the 28-3 capitulation. The Patriots coming back on Atlanta. You remember the goal line play with beast mode where they should have given him the ball and Russell Wilson threw a stupid ball into stupid slant into the middle. I don't know why you do that, but it's like that. But even those opportunities, man, like some of those, what percentage, what analytics told you that a guy is running all over the pass defense the entire Super Bowl, and on one of the last plays of the game, let's do a slant. And I think analytics is just killing sports, bro. Like, one thing that I hear with Arsenal a lot is XG, expected goals. Where does XG come from? Like, how is XG formulated? Like, is it just some supercomputer that looks at how many players you have and how many goals? And I don't know that, because I don't care. When Arsenal lose, it's like, oh man, it was so bad that we lost because Wolves had, or when we drew, like Wolves had 0.02 XG, and it's like, yeah, but they scored 2 goals. I could tell you, like, oh, the XG at the point, was 0.5 when they equalized, and I was like, I don't need XG to tell me that Wolves were all, like, my eyes showed that Wolves were all over us and we're going to concede. I don't need XG to tell me that. And I feel like now a lot of decisions on the pitch are made because, and I have to use Arsenal example because I'm an Arsenal fan. I feel like a lot of the way that we play is analytical. I feel like a lot of the way we play is these passes are high percentage, and going this way works a lot better, and it's running the game. Like, when you think about the great teams, the AC Milans of the 90s, and you look at Brazil, Argentina, you look at Barcelona, Real Madrid. Like, you think that Ronaldinho cared about XG? You think that, all of his passes came off? No, not all of them came off. When Neymar, MSN, you think all of their passes worked? No. I bet you some games that XG would have been diabolical. Or they would have made a pass that wasn't high percentage. But guess what? They won everything. Like, I feel like football isn't played by numbers. It's not played by analytics. It's played by the people that are on the pitch and what you see. And you look at moments like, the Arsenal Real Madrid game, and the coach is telling Declan Rice, cross it in, because that free kick, it ain't high percentage, man. That free kick, that those 2 free kicks, those aren't high percentage free kicks, bro. Like, you have a higher chance of getting the ball into the area and hoping that other players get on the end of it, hoping that you get maybe a jammy goal. The goalkeeper comes out and fumbles it, or you start moving and you start giving the motion and someone goes down. Yeah, it's a higher percentage than just taking a whack at the goal, because you look at a lot of those free kicks, and I think about the free kicks that have been scored, like one that Szoboszlai from Liverpool, his free kick, amazing. But how many people can make those types of free kicks consistently? Messi's, Ronaldo. But you step up in Declan Rice, he's not a free kick specialist. He's not a free kick extraordinaire. So when you look at him, you wouldn't expect Declan Rice to step up, take a free kick, and slide it in the top corner. That's not something that you would think about. So him stepping up to the plate, him stepping up to take that free kick against Real Madrid, ain't high percentage. It's not. And the coach is telling him, cross into the box. And I'm pretty sure Albert, and our set piece coach, they're probably sitting there, like I said, higher percentage of getting into the box. Instead, he says, look, I see what I see. I see that I think I can make it. And he does it. Imagine if he had crossed it into the box, taking that high percentage option, and we don't score. And Real Madrid hit us on the counter and win the game. Like, football is not analytics, man. And I know, I feel like analytics can help, right? Because when I coach, do I look at the stats? Do I look at how frequently someone plays said defense? How frequently, someone plays this run play? How frequently they throw the ball? That's important stuff. Those analytics are important. But if you're using analytics to make on-field decisions, I feel like it's killing the game. It's killing the game, bro. Hold on. Like it's it's destroying the fun of the game that everything has to be quantified. Everything has to be he's done this X amount of times, or this team does this X amount of time. Like I don't remember as a kid watching, you know, OG Brazil and Zinedine Zidane's France, and looking at them and saying, "Oh man, this France team look like they have 2.3 xG. Oh, they've got 62% possession. Oh, they run it down, the left side more times." Like I didn't watch that. I didn't watch for you watch for goals and assists. You like those, but I like the way they were moving the ball. The way Ronaldinho had the ball on a string. Guys like Kaká, like those guys. I was watching those guys. I didn't care for the analytics, and now I feel like even with Arsenal, and the Arsenal thing just bugs me. Every time we lose, every time we don't do well, there's always some stat. There's always some random stat that comes in. Oh, we had 67% of the ball, and in the 69th minute, we had 14 xG, but we only scored one goal. Like that doesn't matter. None of that xG stuff matter. We only scored one goal. Goals at the end of the day are what matter. And I feel like if we just got back to using analytics and say, hey, these are the trends that I see, but when you're in the final third, do what you like. Do what you like. And we saw it at the weekend with how we performed against Tottenham. I feel like it was one of the first times in a long time where we just took everything went out the window. We made some risky passes. We made some goofy decisions because Declan Rice with the goal, but we put caution to the wind and we went at it and we just played football. And you've got 2 Eza goals and 2 Gyökeres goals by just playing football. Bun the analytics, bun the system, and that's another thing, systems. Everything's so systematic now. And it's a problem that I had in my coaching career. Because you as a coach, you have to have philosophy. Right? You have to have a philosophy on how you're going to run things because you're the manager. Every manager in every job, they have a way they want to run things. Every manager in every job has a way that a kind of a blueprint that they want things run because as a manager, anything that's done underneath you, anything that's done by your subordinates is a reflection of you. So I understand that. Like I said, I coach offensive coordinator. I've coached defensive line. I've coached offensive line. I've coached a lot of things for American football. But when I was offensive coordinator, one of the questions that I had for myself is how do I want my team to be? Like, how do I want my team to reflect me? How do I want my team to go on the field and when we score and when we play, people can say, you know what? That offense it's tough. It's this or it's that. And for me, I always wanted to have because in Brit ball, you're kind of teaching kids how to play American football for the first time. So, you won't have a lot of experience. So I feel like with that, running the ball, running the ball, taking what the defense give you and catching them napping, like is ideal. So when I set up my team for me to reflect me, I want to be able to pound the rock. I want to be able to get on the field and impose my will. When I coach defense, when I coach defensive line, that was my thing. I want to impose my will on the person, across from me. That was my thing. And one thing that I learned as an offensive coordinator is, yes, I had a system. Yes, I had a way that I wanted to play. Yes, I had a set plays that I wanted to run. Yes, I had a way that I wanted my offense to work. But then you look at the players that you have. And for me, the most important thing as a coach is looking at the players you have, the team that you have, and saying, will this work? Yes, I want to run this system, but I don't got the players to do it. And I feel like and it's not just an Arsenal problem. It's not just an Arsenal problem. We're seeing a lot more that you have a lot of teams who are married to the system. This is the way we want to play. You look at our rivals. Big Ange. Big Ange won a European trophy, and his system might have worked a little bit better in Europe, but even in the final, he changed it because you have to kind of play how the game dictates. And Ange was kind of done in because he wanted to play a high line. Well, he didn't have the players to play a high line. You knew that from the beginning. And then, Thomas Frank, he's come in and he's tried to play away. Arne Slot, yes, he won the league, but now you're seeing the way that he wants the players to play. He doesn't have the players for it. They can't play the way he wants to play, and they don't look good. And I think a lot of this new manager stuff, a lot of this new coaching thing, it's the system, the system, the system. Like, you even look at basketball or triangle offense. Like, Tom Thibodeau is a good example with the Knicks. Like, you've got all that talent, and you want to play your way. You want to play your way. You don't have the players to play that way. They're not great defenders, bro. They're great attackers, but you want to play this stout defensive system, and then when y'all lose because these guys are gassed from defending, you look silly, bro. And I think as a coach, you have to kind of sit there and say, yes, I have a system. And I think one person I can say has gotten better at it, and this is why I think he's probably, if not one of the best in world football, Pep Guardiola. So early Pep Guardiola, one of the things that we said about Pep was that his system, he was rigid and he wanted it this way and he flogged his players and, he didn't rotate a lot and kind of the same stuff we saying with Arteta. Then he bends Jesus, he bends Zinchenko, he bends like Fabian Delph, all those guys. And he brings in Haaland. And everyone's saying, oh, Erling Haaland's not going to work at Man City because Pep likes to play with a false nine, and he's not like Gabriel Jesus, and he needs service or he won't bang. And guess what Pep did? He tailored his system to work. And the guy scored 40 goals. Right? He scored 40 goals. And my thing with a lot of these managers is if Pep Guardiola could figure out that I need to change my system to cater to the players I have, why can't we? Like, what's stopping you from saying, I don't have the best wingers. I don't have the best fullbacks to run up and down, to invert. So this is how I want my system to be. And I think that Slot did it in the beginning. Because what I think Slot did last season was kind of let them play. He didn't change Klopp's system too much. Because first season, and I think it's really hard to come in and implement your system in the first season anyway. But they won. And then he's gone to his system. And the one thing I can't understand is, bro, you won with this system. And yes, it's not your ideology, it's not your system. But why don't you tweak it to fit how you want to play? Don't just change the whole thing and say, no, we're playing like this now. Because that takes time. It takes effort. And if you're in a title-winning window, you don't have the time. You don't have the effort. You don't have, the ability to keep learning and learning and learning. Like, you have to actually go for it and keep it moving. And I think a lot of coaches and a lot of managers, they get to the point where they're so wrapped up in how they want to do things that they can't see the wood for the trees. They can't see that sometimes you need to adapt. Sometimes you can change your system, but still have your ethos, still have, the way that you want to play, still have how you want to score goals, still be the team you want to be and stout and amazing by just being more flexible. And that's the one thing that I wish my manager would do. Just be a little bit more flexible. Just play the game that you can play with the players that you have. And if it's not your system, that's fine. My biggest issue with my team at the moment is the mentality. I don't think we have the mentality to win. And that comes from the manager as well. You have to be, as a coach, as a head coach, as an offense coordinator, you have to instill in your players that mental fortitude. They have to look at you and say, I don't worry about this adversity because coach trained me for it. Coach, coach allowed me to get there. I'm pretty sure a lot of times when Arsenal look down and out, Anfield 89, they're looking to the coach and the coach is motivating them. You guys can do this. You have it. You have the talent. Just go out and do it. And I feel like sometimes our manager spends so much time cheerleading and directing traffic, and sometimes you just don't need that. And even Pep has stopped doing it as much. Like you just see Pep sometimes he's scratching his head, but he allows his players to play. As a player, if my coach is yelling at me and shouting at me the entire time, like bro, that drains your confidence. Because you're running around and every time somebody's yelling at you, now in the back of your mind, you're just like, I'm doing a bad job. I'm not doing great. Oh, should I pass it left? Should I pass it right? Sometimes, man, you just gotta let go. Let go and hope for the best. I've done it. Sometimes I've had some plays and some plays and some players where I'm just kind of like, bro, I don't know what you're doing here, but it worked. And I'm always of the philosophy, keep doing it if it works. And when the opponents adjust, do something else. You know what I'm saying? If it's working, keep going until they do something else. And that's the thing that these system managers have a problem with. Because they do this thing, it's my system, my system, my system, my system. And then when the opponents figure it out, they're like, what do I do? What do I do now? Because your opponents have figured out your system. And because they're so married to it, because that's the only thing that they rep, they never have a plan B. And that's one criticism I have of my manager. I don't feel like he has a plan B. Now, our plan A, when it works, it works. It looks great. Our defense looks great. We scoring goals. But when somebody figures you out, you have to have the wherewithal to change. There's no analytics. There's no stats that's going to help you. You have to have that mentality as a coach to say, this ain't working. Bun analytics. Let's do some magical stuff. Let's try something. We don't try enough. And I feel like some other managers with the system stuff, it's the same thing. You live by the system, die with the system. I miss favela football, man. Like that's what I miss. I miss favela football. I miss watching football and being wowed. And it's not just an Arsenal thing. You look at the Premier League as a whole, I don't think it's that great, man. Because everybody's trying for set pieces and sitting behind the ball and this high percentage stuff. Nah, man, I want to see some nutmegs. I want to see some rainbow flicks. I want to see some people picking up the ball at the halfway line and just running past 4 or 5 dudes. Like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see the same old, same old. This rigid, systemic stuff. I don't want to see it, bro. And I'm sure a lot of fans don't want to see it. I'm sure a lot of fans are tired of seeing it. I want football back. Football is it started as like the working man sport. It was ugly, it was gritty. It was something that the mill workers did. The miners, the the coal workers. That's something that they did after work. And now it's just become this overanalyzed diva sport. And I don't want that, man. I want football back. Football is the world sport. Let's get some real football back. Stop all this system stuff and analytics. It's not for me. It's not for me. But yeah, that's what I was thinking on the analytics bits. Football is just it's not just football. American football, basketball. Sport has become a bore to watch because it's just less individual brilliance. That's why I like every now and then I think my guilty pleasure is ice hockey. I like ice hockey and shout out to the USA team winning. But yeah, it's ice hockey, bro. I like ice hockey because I feel like ice hockey is the last sport where you can punch a dude in the face and not get sent off. I like that. You know, you look at football now, you get hit in the chest and you got dudes rolling around like they just been shot with a cannon. Like it's silliness, bro. But ice hockey, bro. Also, because my Panthers hometown team, you know, Stanley Cup champions and all that. But yeah, man, I just like it because it's just adrenaline, back and forth. The puck is hard to follow, though, man. That puck is hard to follow. You watch it on TV, you just like it's hard. But man, when they throw the gloves off and they start punching each other, bro, I'm there for that. I'm here for that. I'm always here for that. I think it's the last sport where you can just and you know fights happen. This is one thing I don't like as well. Like fights happen on the pitch. Yeah, you have to keep some kind of discipline, man. But every now and then you need a little tussle. You know, we had some in the NFL. Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson. Like we had some fisticuffs. Like and some people want to watch that, man. I've been there in the heat of the battle. Dude's mushing you all day. He's pushing you in the face. Yeah, man. Some days you want to fight that dude. It happens. It happens to the best of us. So, yeah, bring it back. Bring it back. I like. All you need is like a 5-minute sin bin. You know what I'm saying? You fought, and most of the times you'll fight that dude, and then you'll see him in the tunnel. You be like, my bad, bro. Like it's not even that deep. You just get in the heat of the you know, just let them duke it out. And you know what? They might not get over it. Send them to the sin bin, and if it continues, then you send them off. But like hockey, bro, you watch somebody punch somebody else in the face, it's over. That's it. They might not like each other, but they don't keep fighting. So, yeah, man, I like it. But yeah, that's referees, that's prim ball, that's the annoyance of analytics and people just inputting, and I'm talking about external forces in the game. Just let the players play. Let the players play. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, because I've waffled 42 minutes, is racismo. Right? So, Vinicius Jr., and I wanted to wait to talk about this, man. I wanted to wait to talk about this because I felt like everybody was kind of talking about it and it was a hot thing. And I wanted to wait to think about it. Racism is never good. And with it being the world sport, as I said, racism has no place in sport. It has no place in society. But I think that football, most of all, should be the one sport where that's not there. Where there's, you know, and you're always going to have a semblance of racism. You're always going to have a semblance of prejudice. But I feel like the world football, when you think about football, man, growing up in Miami, you know, the beautiful thing about football is you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere in the world and talk about football. Anywhere in the world. So being in Miami, if you've never been to Miami, it's a beautiful place. It's such, when they talk about America being the melting pot, I feel like Miami is the start. It's the gateway. Gateway to the Caribbean. You've got black people, you've got brown people, you got Asians, you know, Haitians, Dominicans, Cubans, Mexicans, you know, Polish people, Chinese, Japanese. You got so many people in South Florida. And the crazy thing is, I can go to Hialeah, which has a huge Hispanic population, and I can go talk to Cubans and Dominicans about football, or I can go to Lauderhill and talk to the Jamaicans about football. My barber's a Jamaican, and I'm pretty sure he's a Man United fan or Man City, one of the two. I just know that he be making me every time I go in there because we bottle it, and I'll be like, as long as my haircut is good, it's all right. But you know, I've gone into malls. I've gone into, you know, I've gone into schools. I've gone just wearing Arsenal stuff and striking up conversation with Hispanic people, with Jamaicans, with Haitians, you know, just random people. Even at the pub, there's so, like, at the supporters club, there's such a melting pot of people who follow Arsenal, who follow Man United, who follow Tottenham. I mean, nobody follows Tottenham because they're not a real team. But you know, it's so many people that follow, and so many people have conversations. And I just feel like football is. If you think about football, the World Cup, right? You think about the World Cup. You got teams from Africa, Nigeria. You got Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal. You got teams from Asia. You'll have uh, Japan. You know, Korea. You'll have Australian team. You got Middle Eastern teams. You had one in Qatar, Saudi Arabia. You've got Argentina and Colombia, Brazil, Canada, America, Jamaica. Like you've got I mean, what didn't Curacao make the World Cup? Like you've got so many teams from all around the world. Everyone's represented. Racism has no place. It has no place in football. And the thing that I think about as the World Cup moves to America is you're having such a diverse event in a place that is. I don't want to get political, but we have to be honest. It's an honest conversation and it's a real conversation. You're having you're having the World Cup in a place that is now becoming openly racist. The president, the leader of that nation, has said so many racist things. You've got groups of people who are downplaying black and brown people and Asians. And it's something that you have to think about, bro. You have to think about the safety of the World Cup. You have to think about the safety of the fans that are going to the World Cup. I mean, we talked about the Super Bowl and Benito, and ICE being outside wrangling people, wrangling up Spanish speakers. Like, how can you have a world event? How can you have the world event in a country that's so openly racist? I'm from that country, and I'll be honest with you guys, man. As beautiful as Miami is, Miami has a dark underbelly. It's not always pretty. So I'm mixed, man. I'm mixed about the World Cup. I'm very proud, and even being in England, man. Like even being in England, I'm an England fan. I've lived here. I can't tell you why I support England. I know why I don't support the USA team because they are tough to watch. The US have always been tough to watch. The whole pay to play system, not a fan of it. The US, you have to, it's not like any other nation where you have academies and they try to pay you, and they try to cultivate you. Now you got to pay to play soccer, bro. You got to pay to get into these academies. You got to pay to do these things. So I've never supported US, but the UK, I can't tell you why I support England, maybe because I live here. But even in the UK, you looked at the Euros, and it's a real conversation. This is why we had the Waffle House. If nobody watches this, fine. But it has to be said, man. That Euros when Saka stepped up and took a penalty. Yeah, he missed it. But how many people on their couches, how many people in the stands would take that penalty? How many people could take that penalty? I guarantee you most of the people who were shouting abuse at him, if you asked them to take a penalty in that situation, they not even getting it on target. Or they're shooting straight at the keeper. You ask these men to take on their nation's hope in a penalty shootout. And yeah, they missed it. That'll happen. But nobody says anything when white players miss. They ridicule them as crap and they move on. They don't call them monkeys and they don't say that they're the reason why the nation is going downhill. You never see it. But the first time that a black player makes a mistake, the first time that a darker player, a brown player makes a mistake, it's all over the headlines. He's let the country down. But if that had been McGuire or someone else, he's tried his best. He just couldn't do it. And it's crap, bro. Racism is not just calling people monkeys and saying racial slurs. It's the covert stuff. It's the undertones. And this country, my country as well, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. So it's sad, man. It's sad, especially being a brown person myself. I've had to deal with some of that. People saying, "Oh, you're one of the good ones. You're you're not like the rest." What does that mean? There's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of black and brown people like me. Every nationality has some dirty people. White, black, brown, orange. Every race, every nationality has some people that are scumbags. But it just seems that people tend to always point out the black and brown ones. Like there aren't any more scumbags. No, scummy people are scummy people. They don't have a color. They don't have a shape. They don't have a set size. Scumbags are scumbags. And that has no place in our sport. I love Spain. I live there. But some of them, scummy behavior. The blackface, the monkey and the bananas, the incidents. It's disgusting, bro. It's disgusting. So even, and then you got people trying to justify it, trying to justify what was said. I've played sport. I ain't covering my mouth if there's something that, and I'm not on camera either, but I'm not covering my mouth. If I can say something, that's fine. People only hide themselves when they do something that it's not okay. Because if it was okay, you wouldn't have to hide it. If it was fine, you wouldn't have to hide it. So if Vinicius says or Mbappe says that it happened, I'm more inclined to believe them. Also, you got to look at some of the countries these people come from, and they have a history. But I don't know, besides Juicy Smollett, Justice Smollett, I don't know a lot of people who will cry racism and it's not a thing. And even if it was a mistake, you've got people like Jose Mourinho, and I like Jose Mourinho. Well, I like Jose Mourinho. He was a special manager. But when someone has said they're racially abused, and the first thing you do is, it can't possibly be true, because we had a black player 50 years ago. You're part of the problem. That's scumbag behavior. It's like people who say, I can't be racist. I got a black friend. He's one of the good ones. That doesn't stop you from being a racist because you got black friends. I can't be racist. I got a black granddaughter. It doesn't stop you from having those prejudices. It doesn't stop you from feeling those things. It could change your mind eventually, but if you have to point that out, I don't point out things that I don't feel. I don't have to tell people that I'm not something that I'm not. I'm not a footballer. I ain't got to convince nobody I'm not a footballer. They can look at me. I ain't a footballer. They know. I don't have to convince someone that I'm not something that I'm not. So I'll end on this with the racism thing. It's scummy. It's dirty. And if you feel that way, if deep down you feel that way, I would much rather you not support me. If your first instant is to not believe Vinicius because you don't like him, don't support me. Whether it's true or not, racism is a thing. We've seen it. I've had firsthand experience. It's ugly. So if you feel that way, you know somebody feel that way, you looking at my stuff, go ahead and hit that unsubscribe button, bro. Don't want you in my community. There's no place for it. Not in the world's game, not in the world. I'm ending on that. That's my bit about Vinicius. Stamp out racism. And stop giving me these dog and pony shows with this bending knee. Get rid of them. Ban them. Ban players. Ban fans. Ban managers. Get rid of them and it will stop. Lip service, ain't got time for it. Because that's all it is. Lip service. Now, on that note, let's move to something more positive. Right? Let's talk about football. And I've got about 20 minutes. Let's talk about American football. As I was saying earlier, the NFL has become a tough thing to watch. As a Miami Dolphins fan, it's tough. And the Miami Dolphins at the moment, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We got a player that we can't shift. If we shift to our quarterback, it's going to be 99 million. And it's a problem that usually I'll be bugged about. Like, you know, when I follow, it's really hard to follow American football here as well. It's not too hard, but like for the Dolphins, we always get primetime games or late games. I don't understand why that is. But I ain't staying up 1 o'clock, you know, and being late for work the next day to watch us lose every week. Not happening. Plus, Arsenal fills me with love. But with the Dolphins and the Tua situation, I feel kind of like I did when we had like the Aubameyang thing, and we had players that were trying to shift. Arsenal are not a good selling club. One thing we are not good at is selling players. And it almost seems like every time Arsenal have to sell someone, we never actually get to a point where we can sell for any kind of money. We always end up underselling. Or we're taking the hit. You know, Aubameyang, we kind of gave him away. I think Ozil at the end, we terminated his contract. And that's dead money. You know, there's no salary cap per se. But you're not making money off that. If you've paid $65 million for a player and you let him walk, you've lost $65 million. You've not recouped any of that. And that's how it is. That's how the Dolphins are right now. Like, you're paying this guy, you ain't getting nothing back from him. Even if we trade him, we still got dead money. Still like what, $50 million of dead, $50 million of dead money. So you kind of stuck, bro. Like, you're stuck. You're stuck with the bill. And yeah, man, the Dolphins would be stuck with the bill. I've felt this so many times before that you kind of stuck. And the same thing with Arsenal, same thing with the Dolphins. Once you don't get that money, once you don't recoup anything, it kind of it curtails your spending for the future. It stops you from being able to progress. It stops you from being able to invest in the club. So now the Dolphins, they got that huge cap thing, and they're stuck with, you know, what's left with the salary cap. They're not going to have a lot of money. And it's the same thing that Arsenal have. Every time we don't sell a player for profit, I think our most our highest sell is still like £40 million. But every time we don't sell a player, and you watch teams like Liverpool and teams like Chelsea selling players 45 million, 50 million, 65 million. I mean, we bought 2 Chelsea players for what, 45 and 65 million. We've given Chelsea 100 million pounds for 2 players. They making money off of us. So we're giving them money, and then we're letting our players walk. We're losing money. And then people kind of wonder why. Like, if I was a businessman, if I was a billionaire, and the guys I appointed to run my company continue to lose me money, why would I pump more money into it? And I'm not excusing the Kroenkes. You guys know how I feel about the Kroenkes. I ain't excusing it. But I would not keep pumping money into a losing product. I would not keep pumping money into something that's bleeding money. It's not great. It's not great from a financial sense. So with the Dolphins, and our owner, why would I keep pumping in money? And they've got a cap, so you can't really pump in money anyway. But why would I keep letting you make the decisions and you losing me money, essentially? Because if he leaves and we eat that 99 million, let's say the cap is 300 million, you've gotten rid of a third of the cap for a guy that A, isn't going to play for your club, and B, you can't write that money off. So you've basically given up a third for nothing. And it's the same thing with Arsenal. You keep giving these players away. You're not selling well. You're basically losing money. And the money that you would have had to spend on players, you don't have because you don't sell. I look at the Arsenal squad now. Who can we sell? At this moment in time, who can we sell? Martinelli is probably your biggest sales piece. How much you getting from Martinelli? They like to throw 65 million. It's not happening. I'd say 35. Maybe 45. On a good day. Who else? Odegaard, 25. Max. Trossard, 10, 15. Who else can go? Who else? Ben White, 15 to 20, maybe, if you can get a Prem team to do it. Kepa's probably staying. Like, who can we sell? Havertz. Who's gonna pay Havertz $265 a week? Ain't nobody giving us $65 million back for him. So we're gonna take a loss on that, and then you got to somehow shift his wages. It's tough, man. It's tough. Just the finances, the financial implications of how we are. It's tough. But meanwhile, people like me selling merch. Not selling merch, buying merch. And yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough being a fan when you know and you can see. And I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not, a checkbook merchant. It's just tough, bro. It's really tough when you can see your team making bad financial decisions. That's like if you got kids, man, or siblings, and you telling them, like, hey, you making bad financial decisions, and they continue to do it. And you can't help them. You can only lead them to water. But you can't make them drink. And it's the same with Arsenal. Same with Miami. Same with a lot of sports teams. You watch them make bad decisions. And people get paid millions of dollars. Millions of pounds to make bad decisions. I like to think that, man, if you gave me a couple million and said, hey guys, make this work. Make us a great team. I think I could do it without losing us money, to be honest. So, yeah, finance is crazy. What else I got to waffle about? Actually, I want to talk about this shirt. I don't know if you guys know, and I'll end on the whole thing. I love merch. I am an Arsenal merch guy. Not just Arsenal. One day, if you see, I've got different hoodies. I got this, right? This is the team that I played for, and I'm going to shout them out because this is my channel, and if you ever want to know. So, the UK does have American football. I coach it. I played it. I even helped ref one. But This is Portsmouth Dreadnoughts, the team I played for. Love them to death. Um, individual one, very good. And yeah, I like collecting kit, bro. Like I look at my closet, because my closet right across from where I'm sitting, and I counted. I got over 100 jerseys. It's a very bad thing. But this kit right here, I absolutely love. I love this kit, and I want to buy more retro kit. I know that people like what DJB and Shane, they do like a lot of retro kits, and I love the retro kits, man. I'm a kit guy, and the thing that baffles me and kind of does my head in about Arsenal is every time we stumble, every time we lose, every time we draw, they drop some merch, and the dopamine side of me and the rational side of me have to go to war. Because dopamine is like, man, that kid right there, bro, I would look good in that. That shirt, I'd look good in it. That jacket, I'd look good in it. But we just drew. Rational side, like, no, we just drew. We just lost. No, I'm not falling for it. And Arsenal have done some great things over, I want to say that the Adidas period, because the Puma kits were skin tight. My Puma kits actually hang up in the closet because I bought them at a time that I was a little bit slimmer, but even then I was getting sizes up and they were still a little snug. So I wear the Adidas kits, and I like the Adidas kits. They've done it, but I wish we could go back to Nike. This kit right here, right? Absolutely love burgundy anything. And what Arsenal did this year is they released burgundy everything, right? That third kit hanging in my closet. I got the third cup. I wanted the third scarf. They sold out. I'm waiting on it to come back. Hopefully I can get one. But yeah, when Arsenal released some burgundy or black, I'm there. That black kit from a couple seasons ago with the gold cannon, therefore. And that's one thing that I'm gonna start talking about on the Waffle House, at the Waffle House. I'll start talking about kits, man. I want to start talking about people's favorite kits, people's kind of kits that people want, upcoming kits, things like that. Like, I think that for me, the kit always tells a story. Like your shirt, most sports have a shirt. You know, rugby, they got rugby shirts and football shirts and stuff. But most kits, there's a story behind it, right? And I feel like I like hearing people's story behind kits. My friend Woody, he pulled out the last time we went to the United game, and he pulled out the 0304 away kit, which I think is the yellow one. The yellow with the blue. And he was telling me about it, man. And that's always interesting to me. Like, I love to hear people's stories about their kits, because I guarantee you, any sport you play, any sport you watch, you've always got a shirt that you remember a time of your life in. And this one was actually, I just love looking at it. This one, so I've been an Arsenal fan since 2016. So obviously I didn't watch during the season. But I remember when I first became an Arsenal fan in 2016, when I walked around the Emirates and they had the bit about Highbury and leaving Highbury in that season. When I saw this on Thierry Henry, I said, this kit is beautiful. The first time I saw it, I said, I have to have it. And this is actually one of the first shirts I bought. And what's crazy is when I bought this shirt, I think the shirt itself was on sale. I want to say it was like $150, bro. I think I want to say it wasn't that much. You go online now in dollars, this joint 500. Right? You go in pounds, it might be 300 for this one is relatively nice. Like, it's got no marks on it. One, because I keep it in pristine condition. I love this shirt. I don't even wear it. It literally just hangs up. It doesn't have a name on the back or anything. But yeah, absolutely love it. I also love crest in the middle of the jersey as well. Absolutely love it. But yeah, it's one of the first ones I bought. And on the next Waffle House, I'll pull out another one. So I wanted to kind of put out, different jerseys so I can talk about them, and that'll be a feature of the Waffle House as well. As I said, this one is one that I played in, so this is my actual Dreadnoughts jersey. My number 51. I was a defensive tackle, and then as you can see at the top bit right there, it says anchor down. That's kind of our thing. We kind of share it with Vanderbilt, anchor down. But um, yeah, it's like that jersey I played in. The funny thing about that one is I used to live in Southampton. I went to the University of Southampton, and when it became time to play adult football, instead of choosing the Southampton team, I chose Portsmouth. Um, I love the Navy. I love the ships. I love naval history. So when they came and they spoke to me about joining, I couldn't even hear what Southampton was saying. Like I wanted to play for Portsmouth, and that's I did. So if you guys know anything about football, Portsmouth and Southampton can't stand each other when it comes to football, and the universities are no different. I played. They have the university team Destroyers. They actually play in purple. This is not Destroyers. This is my friends. I'll talk about this one in a minute. But they, they don't like each other. And then of course you've got they've got the Solent Thrashers, what they're called, and the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts. And the Thrashers have been a little bit more successful in the time that I've been playing, but I don't regret it, man. I love playing for Portsmouth. We've had some decent venues as well, where you've had we played in Gosport for a while, and you could see the Spinnaker Tower. And yeah, we've had some great places. We had some great moments traveling around the country. With Portsmouth, I've been to Bedfordshire, I've been to Cornwall, I've been to Devon. I've been all around the South Coast playing with these guys, and it's just great. I love this kit. The away kit I think is gray. So I have that one as well. But yeah, this is my kit, and this is my favorite shirt. And then this right here, I always wear a different hoodie as well for the Waffle House. This right here is a friend of mine. He plays for the Basel Gladiators, which is American football in Basel, Switzerland. He sent me this hoodie years ago. And yeah, as I said, I played defensive tackle and he was a center. And one of the things that I love most about playing was going up against him, man. He's very good. He's taller than me. He's a strong dude. And yeah, we just have moments. Like in practice, there'd be moments. We were actually roommates for a while as well, housemates. And there'd be times in practice, man, where we just get under each other's skin, man. Like sometimes he get the best of me, yo, I'll never let him say that though. I'll never admit that to him that he got me, right? There's always an excuse when something happens. But there be times where I get him too, and those first couple seasons before he graduated, because I think he was a year or two ahead of me. Yeah, those years before he graduated, bro, best years of my life. I think iron sharpens iron, and we used to go at it. And then his family is from Switzerland or lives in Switzerland, and he went back and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm playing in Switzerland," and he sent me a hoodie, and I tried to watch when he came. I think last I heard, he tore his ACL, and then I walked away from football. But hopefully, if he's playing this summer, I'll get to watch. I might even get over to a game one of these days. Now that I live in a place where it's easy to get to the airport. But yeah, man, I like talking. I've got so much kit that I want to talk about, and it's something that, as I said, I want to talk to the group. I want to talk to the chat about their kits and their history, and eventually on the Waffle House, I'll start getting guests, and we'll just talk about random stuff, man. We'll talk about kits. We'll talk about football, sports, and everything. I'm gonna keep trying to do it on Tuesday. So if you have watched, if you have stopped by, it's gonna be a thing Tuesday 8 o'clock. Just because after I get off of work, and I don't want to keep you guys too late. And yeah, we got a raid in, so I guess I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Vigilante and Chris New. Thanks, Vigilante and Chris New, for the raid. I appreciate you guys. Uh, Gavin says Vigilante and Chris Raid. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, I'm just waffling about Kit at this point. Um, yeah, that's what this is. So if you're new to the Waffle House, if you've come over, thanks for like, share, subscribe. Um, but the Waffle House is just me talking about random things um, that I kind of find it. It's football. It's American football. It's American. I mean, if you are just coming in tonight, I talked about the referees. I talked about the stoppages before the North London Derby. Um, I also talked about analytics in football. How I think that it's destroying the game because we don't actually see any talent. We don't see any skill anymore. It's just all analytics and XG and all that crap. And then I talked about the Vinicius incident and racism. Um, so yeah, if you guys do want, you can watch that back. AJ, as usual with the gin name coming in. What's going on, Gooner Rican? Hope you're good. I hope you're good too, AJ. Um, Vigilante, big up. Thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. I see the thing with like the Waffle House. I didn't know what other time to actually do it because I feel like everybody has something going on in the week, and I don't. You know, I'm a small channel, and I don't want to take away anybody from seeing their favorite guy. So I picked the date because I know that Wednesday, I think Views is on, and then Thursday the Bruised Banana, and then Friday BBK has his thing. So I felt like Tuesday was the time to do it, and I feel like it's in the beginning of the week. People are just kind of fed up with their work, fed up with having to go back to work. So it's an opportunity for people to come in here, listen to me waffle, and waffle back to me. That's pretty much it. That's what I mean. So it's going to be on Tuesday. My Arsenal show, which is the ammo check, will be on the weekends. And I say it'll be on the weekend because it changes, one, with how I feel, but also with how when we're playing. Like, I did a live show for the London Derby because I didn't think 5 minutes was enough to talk about those mugs down the road. And then this week, I think I'll do it on the Saturday because we're playing Chelsea, and I think there's still pressure, but there's a little less pressure. And I'll do the ammo checks. So I can talk about the week. I can give us some time to process the North London Derby, some time to kind of determine what you think we do against Chelsea at home. And then yeah, just have an Arsenal chat. Everything here, in my community is about people kind of coming in and giving their views, whether you're an Arsenal fan, Man United fan, I don't care. We can talk football, we can talk American football, we can talk other sports. It's just a chat, man. The Waffle House is literally just getting to know the community. The ammo check, I'm gonna talk Arsenal. If you come in there as a rival fan, I'm gonna take the mick out of you. That's what we do here. So yeah. Anyway, I've been on long enough, and I think that my wife is now gonna start calling and putting the search party out. Thank you, Vigilante and Chris New, for sending me the raid. My bad that you guys were not. I didn't know. I picked the time, so I have to see maybe that I don't do it at the same time. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and as always, like, share, subscribe. I hope you guys have the best week you can possibly have. And yeah, come on, you Gunners. Up Sevilla. Go Dolphins. Happy Miami. And as always,